We're counting down the 6 most massive sea creatures ever captured on camera. From deep-sea mysteries only recently brought to light, to living giants once thought to exist only in legend. In 1910, a scientist opened a jar in a museum and found a jellyfish specimen unlike anything described before. It was enormous, transparent, and so delicate that it seemed impossible for such a creature to exist in the wild. Over the next century, only about 100 confirmed sightings would ever be recorded. The giant phantom jelly became a ghost story told among deep-sea biologists. A species known more from rumor and preserved fragments than from living observation. That changed in 2021 when MBARRI's remotely operated vehicle, Doc Ricketts, descended to 3,200 feet off the California coast. Its cameras captured a living giant phantom jelly drifting through the darkness. The animal stretched nearly 33 feet from bell to the tips of its 4 ribbon-like mouth arms. These arms, both propeller and net, undulated with a slow, hypnotic grace, catching prey and moving the creature through the water. For the first time, scientists could watch this elusive giant alive, its translucent form glowing softly in the ROV's lights. A century-old mystery once sealed in a jar, now revealed as a living marvel of the deep. 200 million years ago, long before the first dinosaur, the bluntnose sixgill shark was already prowling the world's oceans. Its lineage stretches back to a time when continents were still drifting apart. In 2019, a team aboard OceanX's submersible dove to 2,500 meters off the Bahamas. Lights pierced the black water. Then, out of the gloom, a massive shape appeared. The shark measured nearly 20 feet from nose to tail, weighing more than 1,000 kilograms. Crew voices, barely above a whisper, captured the moment. "That thing is bigger than the sub." The shark circled, slow and unhurried, its eye fixed on the vessel. Every movement suggested age and power. Researchers prepared a satellite tag designed to slip beneath its skin with minimal harm. When the animal drew close, they deployed it. One precise shot, years in the making. The tag would track the shark's migrations, offering a rare glimpse into the life of a deep-sea predator unchanged for eons. For the scientists, the encounter was more than a thrill. It was a meeting with prehistory, a chance to follow a living fossil as it vanished again into the deep. 10,000 feet beneath the Pacific, near Johnston Atoll, a research vessel's camera swept across the abyssal plain and caught something no one on board expected. Rising from the seafloor stood a sea pin, but not the delicate hand-sized kind familiar to shallow reefs. This one towered nearly 7 feet from base to tip, its stalk impossibly slender, crowned with tentacles that stretched out like the petals of a strange undersea flower. Each tentacle measured about 16 inches long, arranged in a ring around a single central polyp, barbed and poised for feeding. The creature seemed to hover in the darkness, upright and motionless, as if it had bloomed from the very mud of the deep. Then the camera panned, and a second, equally massive specimen appeared nearby. The scientists watching the live feed struggled to find words. One voice, barely contained, broke the silence. "My mind is blown right now." Most sea pens are solitary, small, and rarely found at such depths. Here were 2 side by side in a part of the ocean almost never visited. Their size and shape defied expectations, hinting at a hidden diversity among deep-sea cnidarians that remains almost entirely unexplored. With every advance in camera technology, the abyss reveals another secret, sometimes in the form of a giant flower-like creature anchored in the darkness, challenging every assumption about what life can look like at the bottom of the world. For generations, the giant squid haunted the edge of science and myth, a shadowy monster blamed for sunken ships and vanished sailors. No scientist had ever seen one alive. The only proof came from carcasses washed ashore or tentacles found in whale stomachs. That changed in 2006 when a Japanese expedition led by Dr. Tsunemi Kubodera and Kyoichi Mori set out for the Ogasawara Islands. Their approach was different. A baited camera rig equipped with a red light system invisible to deep-sea eyes lowered nearly 900 meters beneath the surface. On September 27th, the camera captured what many believed impossible: a living giant squid, Architeuthis dux, hunting in its natural habitat. The footage revealed a creature both elegant and formidable. Its main tentacle stretched over 18 feet. The eye, nearly 12 inches across, was the largest ever recorded in the animal kingdom, a dinner plate staring through the darkness. Muscular arms coiled and uncoiled with precision as the squid lunged for prey. For the first time, the world saw the kraken as it truly was, not a mindless beast, but a powerful, intelligent predator perfectly adapted to the deep. The impact was immediate. Scientists and the public alike watched in disbelief as legend became reality. Dr. Edith Witter called it the moment the kraken is no longer a myth, but a real animal in the eyes of science. The footage not only proved the giant squid's existence, but also revealed its anatomy and hunting tactics. The monster of sailors' tales was now a documented fact, a legend finally brought into the light by technology and patient determination. At nearly 31,000 feet below the surface, where sunlight has never reached, a Chinese research team in 2024 sent cameras into the hadal trenches of the Western Pacific. What they recorded stunned even the most seasoned deep-sea scientists. Instead of the barren mud and scattered scavengers expected at these depths, the footage revealed dense, thriving communities, an entire ecosystem powered not by the sun but by chemistry. White tube worms, some stretching nearly 5 feet tall, clustered together in tangled forests. Around them, beds of mollusks and spiky pale invertebrates crowded the seafloor, moving slowly in the darkness. Here, life is built on chemosynthesis. Microbes draw energy from hydrogen sulfide and methane seeping through fissures in the Earth's crust. These chemical reactions fuel a food web as complex as any coral reef, but utterly alien in origin. The expedition's principal investigator described the scene as like another planet. The density and complexity of life at this pressure defies everything we assumed about life's limits. The hadal zone was once thought lifeless, a place too cold, too dark, and too pressurized for anything but the hardiest microbes. The footage from Finduji's cameras proved otherwise. It showed not only that life survives here, but that it flourishes, without any need for sunlight. Every frame from the trench raises new questions about what else might exist in the deep, and whether the boundaries of life are far wider than anyone imagined. In the ocean's most extreme reaches, nature has rewritten the rules, offering a glimpse into worlds that until now were pure speculation. For more than 100 years, the colossal squid existed only as rumor and remains. Whalers pulled up beaks the size of dinner plates from the stomachs of sperm whales. Fragments of tentacles, gelatinous and pale, washed up on Antarctic shores. Scientists cataloged these pieces, measured them, and tried to imagine the living animal. Some estimated adults could reach 46 feet in length and weigh up to 500 kilograms, making the colossal squid the largest invertebrate on Earth. But no one had ever seen one alive. No camera had ever captured it in its own world. That changed in March 2023. The Schmidt Ocean Institute's ROV Sebastian, operating near the South Sandwich Islands at a depth of 600 meters, recorded the first confirmed footage of a living colossal squid. The animal was a juvenile, just under a foot long, small by the standards set by the legends, but unmistakable. Its body was transparent, its arms already showing the beginnings of the rotating hook-lined suckers that make this species unique. The footage was reviewed and validated by Dr. Kat Bolstad, one of the world's leading cephalopod experts. For the first time, scientists could watch a colossal squid move through the water, gliding, alive, not a relic or a rumor. The adult colossal squid remains unseen, still a shadow in the deep. Its eyes, wider than a human head, have never met the camera's gaze. Its arms, lined with swiveling hooks, have never been filmed in action. Yet this brief encounter with a juvenile proved the stories were true. It closed a century-long gap between myth and science. The largest invertebrate on the planet is real, alive, and still waiting in the darkness. If a camera can find a young squid in the vastness of the Southern Ocean, it's a reminder of how much remains hidden and how many giants still wait to be discovered. From the ethereal giant phantom jelly, seen alive only a handful of times in over a century, to the colossal squid, once a legend, now finally caught on camera, this countdown has revealed the ocean's most massive mysteries made visible. Across all 6 entries, a striking pattern emerges. Each creature was once shrouded in myth or known only from fragments, yet technology and perseverance have turned speculation into science. The ranking highlights not just size or rarity, but the power of direct observation, how a single piece of footage can overturn centuries of doubt. Shockingly, even at depths where no sunlight reaches, entire ecosystems thrive, redefining what we thought possible for life on Earth. These discoveries remind us that the ocean remains the planet's greatest frontier. For every giant caught on camera, countless more remain unseen. The real lesson is clear: the age of sea monsters isn't over. It's only just begun, waiting beneath the waves for those bold enough to look. We're counting down the 6 most terrifying creatures lurking in Earth's oceans. From elusive survivors in oxygen-starved darkness to predators with jaws and bodies straight out of nightmares, each entry reveals a new level of adaptation and horror. Let's begin with number 6. 900 meters beneath the surface, in water where oxygen drops to just 3%, a 6-inch creature drifts through the darkness. The vampire squid, Vampiroteuthis infernalis, literally, the vampire squid from hell, moves with an unhurried calm, its blood-red eyes and cloak of webbed arms barely visible in the gloom. Unlike most predators of the deep, it survives not by hunting, but by feeding on a constant rain of marine snow, tiny fragments of dead plants and animals falling from above. Here, almost nothing else can breathe. The vampire squid's body is built for this suffocating world, with a metabolism so slow it can endure where others would perish. When threatened, it unfurls seary, fleshy spikes beneath its cape, transforming its silhouette into something monstrous. Instead of ink, it releases a cloud of glowing mucus, a bioluminescent smokescreen that confuses anything daring enough to attack. Scientists first observed a living vampire squid in 1992 and described the moment as seeing a ghost thrive where life should be impossible. Much about this animal remains unknown. Its true role in the deep-sea ecosystem is still a mystery, and no one can say how many drift through the vast, oxygen-starved abyss. Lurking between 550 and 7,020 feet below the surface, the giant isopod is a creature that seems impossible outside of nightmares. It crawls across the seafloor, armored and pale, with 14 legs moving in slow, deliberate waves. Most specimens measure about 19 to 36 centimeters, already unsettling for a crustacean, but in 2014, a NOAA expedition recovered a giant isopod that stretched to an astonishing 76 centimeters, nearly 2.5 feet long. The crew's log described a tense recovery, a jammed winch, a cracked pressure housing, and a last-minute scramble to save the specimen from vanishing back into the abyss. Scientists still debate how these animals reach such monstrous sizes. Some argue the cold, pressurized depths slow their metabolism, allowing them to grow over decades. Others believe it's the long waits between meals that trigger sudden growth spurts when food finally arrives. When resources run low, giant isopods have been known to cannibalize each other. No one knows which theory is right. What's certain is that these creatures are growing larger than anyone expected, and the reason why remains buried in the darkness. At nearly 16,400 feet below the surface, where the water is colder than ice and the pressure could crush a submarine, a small predator patrols the darkness. The fang-toothed fish measures just 7 inches from snout to tail, but its mouth is a gallery of weapons. 2 upper fangs, so large and sharp they curve outside the jaw, prevent the mouth from ever closing. Micro-CT scans confirm it. The fang-tooth has the largest teeth-to-body ratio of any fish alive. Each fang is shaped like a dagger designed to impale and trap anything unlucky enough to drift too close. Its body is compact, armored in rough scales, and its eyes are set deep, almost as if hiding from the world. The fang-tooth hunts by opening its mouth wide and sucking in prey, a deep-sea vacuum that swallows crustaceans, squid, and smaller fish in an instant. Specimens are rare, usually caught only by accident in trawl nets. Scientists have studied just a handful, and most questions about its life remain unanswered. How many exist in the abyss? How do they breed? For now, the fang-tooth remains an enigma, defined only by its impossible fangs and its ability to survive where almost nothing else can. At depths between 800 and 1,500 meters, the viperfish hunts where sunlight never reaches and pressure would crush anything unprepared. Its weapon is a thin, whip-like spine on its back tipped with a bioluminescent bulb. This lure flashes in bursts, like a strobe in the dark, drawing in smaller fish and squid that mistake it for food or shelter. As the light pulses, the viperfish waits motionless, jaws parted just enough to reveal backward curving fangs. These teeth are so long they reach past its own eyes, and so sharp they can impale prey in a single strike. The skull is hinged, snapping open and shut with speed that leaves little chance for escape. Once caught, the victim is caged inside, swallowed whole, and digested over days. Most viperfish never survive the journey to the surface. Their bodies collapse in the sudden drop in pressure, leaving only fragments for study. Researchers have tracked their movements with deep diving cameras, but live behavior remains a puzzle. Some scientists believe viperfish join the nightly vertical migration, rising hundreds of meters to hunt in more abundant waters before sinking back into darkness. The full extent of their predatory tactics and their role in the deep ocean's food web remains largely unknown, hidden behind a veil of flickering blue light and silence. In the cold, silent waters nearly a mile below the surface, a creature glides that seems unchanged by time itself. The frilled shark, often called a living fossil, moves with an ancient grace that predates the dinosaurs. Its body stretches up to 6 feet, long and eel-like, with a snake-like head and a mouth lined with around 300 backward-facing teeth. Each tooth is shaped like a trident, arranged in neat, nightmarish rows designed not to slice, but to trap anything that strays too close. Scientists studying its skeleton and organs have found almost no change in its basic form for more than 80 million years. This shark haunts the deep at depths reaching 4,900 feet, where sunlight never penetrates and the water hovers just above freezing. It swims slowly with its mouth agape, possibly to lure in prey or to catch the faintest scent of squid, its favorite food. Sometimes it will eat other sharks or fish, but most of its life remains hidden from view. What truly unsettles researchers is not just its ancient form, but its reproductive mystery. Females are believed to carry their young for as long as 3.5 years, a gestation period that, if confirmed, would be the longest of any shark. This estimate comes from indirect evidence, rare embryos found in captured specimens, comparisons with other deep-sea sharks, and the slow metabolism forced by the cold. No one has ever witnessed a frilled shark giving birth. In 2007, one surfaced off the coast of Japan, disoriented and dying, captured on shaky video by startled fishermen. Some blamed disease, others an underwater earthquake. For a brief moment, the world saw a living fossil at the surface, then it vanished, leaving only questions. The frilled shark is a survivor from another age, a reminder that the ocean's oldest secrets are often the hardest to reach. At depths where sunlight never reaches, sometimes as deep as 2,000 meters, an anglerfish drifts through the cold, crushing dark. Its body is small, rarely more than 6 inches long, but every feature is built for deception. Sprouting from its head is a thin, fleshy rod tipped with a glowing bulb. This lure isn't just a piece of anatomy, it's a living beacon powered by millions of symbiotic bacteria that produce light in total blackness. The anglerfish waves this lure slowly, a hypnotic signal in the emptiness. Small fish and crustaceans, drawn by what looks like a promise of food or shelter, swim closer. In a blink, jaws snap open and the prey is gone. The lure disappears back into the dark, ready to tempt the next visitor. But the anglerfish's true horror is not how it hunts, it's how it mates. In the deep, finding a partner is nearly impossible. So the male anglerfish, a fraction of the female size, has evolved a solution that defies belief. When a male encounters a female, he bites into her skin. Enzymes in his mouth dissolve the tissues between them. Over days, then weeks, his body fuses to hers. Blood vessels merge and his organs wither away. What's left is a living appendage, a permanent sperm donor fused to the female for life. Scientists have studied pairs brought up by submersible, the male reduced to a lump of flesh, eyes gone, no longer capable of independent life. Genetic analysis confirms their tissues have merged at the molecular level. The female can carry multiple fused males at once, each nothing more than a set of gonads, feeding off her blood in exchange for a chance to reproduce. This process, called sexual parasitism, has never been captured in the wild from start to finish. In 2016, researchers filmed a fused pair alive in the deep, but the act itself remains unseen, a mystery preserved by the abyss. Even now, every new specimen raises more questions than answers. The anglerfish stands alone as a predator and as a reproductive parasite, a creature whose very existence pushes the limits of what life can become in the ocean's darkest places. From the ghostly vampire squid in oxygen-starved waters to the anglerfish's horrifying fusion of hunter and mate at the top of our list, these 6 terrifying ocean creatures reveal just how little we understand about the abyss. Across every entry, one pattern stands out. The deep sea breeds extremes, gigantic scavengers, ancient survivors unchanged for millions of years, and predators with weapons nature rarely repeats. The most shocking surprises weren't just in size or teeth, but in strategies like bioluminescent deception and reproductive sacrifices beyond imagination. Each creature on this list qualified not just for its appearance, but for adaptations that push the limits of biology and survival. Together, they show the ocean's depths as a realm where evolution writes its strangest stories. With nearly 80% of the ocean still unexplored, these horrors are only a glimpse of the unknown. The deep sea keeps its secrets, and as these creatures prove, some are more unsettling than anything we could invent. In 1997, hidden Cold War microphones picked up a deep-sea sound louder than a blue whale, logged across oceans, impossible to explain and heard only once. Scientists called it the Bloop. This shock was just one of 6 mysterious ocean sounds that would terrify even the experts, exposing how little we truly know about Earth's last frontier. What happened next would force marine science to confront the unknown. In 1991, the world's oceans were already wired for secrets. For decades, the United States Navy had overseen a vast web of underwater microphones, hydrophones, strung across the seafloor. These arrays, originally built under the Sound Surveillance System, or SOSUS, were designed to catch the faint signatures of Soviet submarines moving through the deep. The technology relied on a natural phenomenon known as the deep sound channel, a layer of water where temperature and pressure combine to carry low-frequency sounds for thousands of miles. A single noise, if loud enough, could ripple from Antarctica to the equator, unbroken. With the Cold War's end, the Navy's priorities shifted. In a quiet handoff, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, gained access to this underwater network. What had been a classified military asset became a scientific instrument overnight. NOAA's Pacific Marine Environmental Laboratory, or PMEL, began using the arrays to listen not for enemy vessels but for the ocean itself, whale songs, volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, and anything else the deep might reveal. These hydrophone arrays, stretching for hundreds of miles and anchored in remote waters, offered scientists a global ear, one capable of detecting the faintest tremor or the loudest crash. For the first time, researchers could monitor the ocean's hidden soundscape in real time across entire hemispheres. The data began to pour in, and with it came a new set of mysteries. The ocean, it turned out, was far from silent. Unexpected signals, some subtle, others overwhelming, started appearing in the records. Some would defy explanation for years, challenging even the most seasoned oceanographers. On July 25, 1997, a wave of confusion swept through NOAA's Pacific Marine Environmental Laboratory. Hydrophones anchored more than 3,100 miles apart, scattered across the ocean, all registered the same event. A sound so powerful it crossed an entire hemisphere. The recording lasted just over a minute. What set it apart wasn't just the reach, but the raw force. Several times louder than a blue whale, the loudest known animal on Earth. The signal began low and then shot upward in frequency, as if something immense had stirred in the deep and then vanished. Here's the strange part. The sound signature didn't match any known machinery or geological event. On the spectrogram, it looked eerily biological, like the call of a living thing, but on a scale no one had ever seen. If it were an animal, it would dwarf anything ever discovered. Christopher Fox, an oceanographer at NOAA, reviewed the data and dismissed the usual suspects. Not a submarine, not a bomb, not an earthquake. Field notes from that day describe a scramble among monitoring teams, urgent messages racing between stations as they tried to confirm what they were hearing. The event was named the Bloop, a label that did nothing to explain its source. Scientists could triangulate its origin to a patch of ocean west of South America, near the Antarctic Circle, but that only deepened the mystery. No similar sound had ever been recorded, and after 1997, it was never heard again. The bloop's magnitude and fleeting appearance left researchers unsettled, a reminder that the ocean's depths still hold secrets beyond our reach. August 1991 brought an entirely different kind of puzzle to the desks of NOAA's Pacific Marine Environmental Laboratory. As the hydrophone network scanned the Pacific, analysts noticed a recurring pattern, a series of sounds rising from low to high frequency, repeating in long, ghostly trains. Each upsweep lasted only a few seconds, but the sequence would continue for hours, sometimes days, echoing across the ocean basin. When played back, the sound resembled the distant wail of an ambulance or a mournful howl lost in vast, empty water. Scientists named it upsweep. Unlike the bloop, which appeared and vanished in a single season, upsweep never truly went away. The signal's intensity would surge each spring and autumn, then fade, only to return the following year. Hundreds of these events were cataloged annually, their origins traced to a remote stretch of the Pacific, halfway between Australia and South America. The sheer scale was staggering. Upsweep could be heard across the entire ocean, its reach undiminished by distance or time. PML teams spent years searching for answers, launching expeditions and deploying specialized instruments to pinpoint the source. The leading theory pointed to volcanic activity, perhaps hot magma meeting cold seawater in some unseen undersea arc. Yet no expedition ever caught upsweep in the act. 30 years later, the sound persists. Its true cause still out of reach. For scientists, upsweep is a reminder that the ocean's most persistent mysteries are often the ones that refuse to be solved. March 1st, 1999. Analysts at NOAA's Pacific Marine Environmental Laboratory logged a sound unlike any in their archive. The event lasted about 15 seconds, short but powerful enough to register across the entire Pacific. The profile was strange, a low, drawn-out moan that some compared to a distant coo or the whine of wind through a steel tunnel. The team named it Julia, a nod to a researcher's family member, though the reason is already lost to memory. Triangulation placed Julia's source somewhere between the Bransfield Strait and Cape Adare, deep in Antarctic waters. The leading theory pointed to a massive iceberg grinding to a halt against the ocean floor, but the singularity of the event left room for doubt. No other sound with Julia's signature has ever been recorded. For scientists, it was a reminder that the ocean can produce one-off events, rare, fleeting, and never repeated. Just 2 years earlier, hydrophones picked up something at the opposite end of the spectrum. On May 19, 1997, a slow, grinding noise began in the equatorial Pacific and dropped steadily in pitch for 7 minutes. This event, called slowdown, seemed to unfold in real time, a drawn-out descent, as if some enormous force was losing momentum. Analysts traced the source to Antarctic waters again, likely another iceberg dragging across the seafloor. Unlike Julia, slowdown has been heard again, though never on a predictable schedule. Each appearance is a reminder that beneath the surface, the ocean's hidden processes continue. Sometimes sudden and singular, sometimes slow and relentless. The variety in these anomalies challenged every assumption about what could be expected from the deep, leaving researchers to wonder what else might be waiting, undetected, in the noise. March 5th, 1997. In the hydrophone logs, a technician scrawled a note, metallic like rails grinding. That morning, the network picked up a steady, low-frequency hum near Antarctica's Ross Sea. The sound pulsed with the resonance of train wheels on distant tracks. Analysts dubbed it train. Unlike the bloop or upsweep, train's signal was faint at the edges. Only a handful of sensors caught it, and the pattern lacked the breadth needed for precise triangulation. The best guess, a massive iceberg dragging its keel across the ocean floor, vibrations ringing through the ice and water. But the evidence was incomplete. The logs show repeated attempts to cross-check bearings, each ending with a question mark. No official spectrogram, no pinpointed coordinates, just a metallic echo fading into static. Then came July 7, 1997. A single hydrophone at 8 degrees north, 110 degrees west, caught a narrowband, high-pitched tone, sharp and uncanny. The team called it whistle. It lasted less than half a minute, never repeated on any other sensor. Without multiple detections, triangulation was impossible. The source remains a blank spot on every map. Internal emails from that day capture a rare sense of defeat. No way to classify, no way to locate. Train and whistle expose the network's blind spots. Even with an ocean wired for listening, some signals slip through, out of reach, out of explanation. For every sound that could be traced to ice or volcanoes, there were others that left only questions. The scientists at NOAA's Pacific Marine Environmental Laboratory gathered around their screens, replaying each unexplained recording, aware that their network, spanning thousands of miles, still missed entire regions of the deep. The realization settled in. Even with the world's most advanced listening system, vast stretches of ocean remained silent. Not because nothing happened there, but because no one was listening. Official estimates suggest more than 80% of the ocean is unmapped, unobserved, and unexplored. Some outreach materials go further, repeating the claim that 95% of the ocean remains unknown. But here's what truly stuns scientists. Every unexplained sound is a reminder that the ocean is still a frontier, and most of its secrets have never been witnessed, let alone understood. The gaps in coverage are not just technical, they are a measure of how much remains hidden. For the PML teams, each mystery was a signal from the darkness, proof that the deep sea is not just unexplored, but possibly unknowable. 95% of Earth's oceans remain unexplored, a statistic that frames every mystery uncovered by NOAA's hydrophone arrays since 1991. The Bloop, louder than any known animal, was captured across 3,100 miles of ocean in 1997. Upsweep has echoed for over 3 decades, while Julia and Slowdown appeared and vanished, their origins still debated. Train and Whistle pushed the limits of technology, with Whistle's true source remaining unconfirmed despite repeated detection. NOAA's later analysis points to ice and volcanic activity as likely causes, but some signals defy full explanation, even with today's advanced tools. These events force scientists to confront the vast unknown of the deep sea. The fact remains, every new sound reveals how little we truly understand about our planet. As hydrophones continue to listen, the ocean's most profound secrets still wait in the darkness, documented but not yet understood.